Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Sunday afternoon, hear the engine scream. Gateways alive with a playoff dream. No easy way, no saving grace. Just 10 men staring death in the face. Tony leading, but it ain't that wide. Order right there on his inside. Pogo stalking, waiting to strike. Larson, Barker holding tight. Feel that pressure, hear that sound. Cut line coming, drag you down. Repulsors digging deep in the hole. Oh, well, was strong top four on the road, but pit road got him cross the line. Now he's racing hard against the time. Every lap's a loaded gun, no place left, nowhere to run. No winning, you're in, no alibi. You want it now, you race or die. Two races left. No second try, only five surviving. Hudson creeping 10 points down, Redder needs a miracle now. Every corner, edge of control, sell your speed or sell your soul. No winning, you're in, it's do or die. Hear the roar as they fly by. Gateway fades, Homestead decides. Only five survive. Sunday sun to a Florida night. Five move on, the rest say goodbye.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the show. I'm Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, and tonight we have a good one here. It is race number 2 of the round of 10 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway. Practicing, wrapping on up here It looks like here, best time by the 2 car of Nick Larson during practice. We'll see if he can back that on up here for qualifying, as qualifying kicking underway right now as we speak. We wait for cars here to get rolling onto the speedway. Looks like one of the first will be the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. As it looks like Pogo gets rolling, not liking something, we'll give it the old reset. So we'll jump on over to his teammate Jim Ott. Ott up on the podium Friday night. Kind of a rare Busch Series appearance by the 4 machine, but he said he wanted the practice, needed the seat time, especially here at Gateway. So we'll see what the 4 car can do, because Jim Ott goes on the clock here at the start-finish line. Just like we've had all season long, 2-lap qualifying here tonight. And for, like I said, every previous race, all the future races. But we will take the best of the 2 laps. That, of course, set the starting lineup. I think here tonight, about 25 or so drivers ready to do battle and see who will walk away with the checkered flag. As Ott here through 3 and 4 for his first time lap. Gateway, of course, a unique racetrack, as it's very, very long straightaways, kind of tight corners, especially down here 1 and 2. And then, of course, corners totally different from one another. 1 and 2 a lot tighter, 3 and 4 more sweeping. It's kind of like a flatter Darlington, if that makes sense here. As we look at the times here tonight, Nick Larson with the quick time so far, 32.75. Everyone is chasing that lap time. Jim Ott, though, we are currently looking at the 4 machine. Lap number 1 at 33.20 here across the stripe for his final lap. Ott will improve a 33.07, but will stay 6th here, and actually the slowest of the round of 10 drivers. Of course, all those drivers here tonight with the blue numbers, also repping some banners, whether pink or blue. We take a look here at another playoff driver. Here's the 6 car of Johnny Barker. Drivers we got to keep an eye on here. Barker right at the cut line coming into tonight. 1 point above Frank Zingen. Eli Raposa also below the cut line. Rob Lowe, Joe Hudson, as well as Steve Ritter. So those 5 drivers need a pretty good race here in the second race of the round of 10, because next week is the cut-off race for the round of 10. So you don't want to go into that a big deficit, because it's going to be a tall order to get some points, especially with the competition left chasing for a championship. Johnny Barker there, lap number 1 at 33.15 from the 6 machine. That'll put him P number 10 here currently. Going to look for some more time as Steve Ritter, another driver up on the podium Friday night. He currently is the quick time here tonight with a 32.70. So Ritter definitely liking this place. Ritter was actually the quick time on Friday night as well. So the 61 machine may know her thing or two about getting around Gateway here in a pretty quick fashion. Barker across the stripe there for lap number 2 at 33.02. Now jump him up to P number 9, just in front of Jim Ott. Another car out here on the speedway. So far we've had 16 of the drivers take a time. Another driver yet to take a time, but coming out here to take one, that is the 46 of Eli Raposa. Raposa, of course, into this round of 10. So the 46 machine hoping for a good race here tonight, as Raposa will slot into 15th here. So definitely going to have his work cut out for him during the race time. But Eli definitely used to that. He knows the pressure. He knows how to get up through the field. As we take a look here at, I want to say, last week's winner, Scott Simley. Yes, it was the 33 machine with that strategy call at Las Vegas. Simley, lap number 1, going to be a 32.92. That'll put him P number 6, the best qualifier of the non-playoff drivers here tonight. We'll see if Simley will count this lap or not. It looks like He is backing it on down, bringing it to pit road. So yeah, with that wall hit, not going to allow this lap. The 33 machine just brings it in pit side, and that will wrap up qualifying here tonight. So congrats here to Steve Ritter, and he will walk away with the pole award. That is, of course, the Riptide Radio pole award. So congrats to Steve, walking away with both pole awards here tonight at Gateway. Last Friday was up here with the Riptide Radio pole award. Here tonight as well. The 61 going to lead the field to the green flag. Speaking about the field coming to the green flag, what do we say we head down trackside and go through tonight's starting lineup? Alrighty folks, tonight's starting lineup will look like the following. A front row lockout of playoff drivers, actually top 5 of playoff drivers. Let's go through tonight's starting lineup as Steve Ritter in the 61 machine going to lead the field to the green flag. To his outside, his teammate in the 2, that is Nick Larson. Then we head back to row number 2, starting on the inside, rolling off in third, that is the 84 machine of Anthony Calatoni, coming into tonight with that points lead. Just outside, a driver that needs a good night here tonight, that is the GStone 21 machine of Rob Lowell. Then we head back to the driver starting in 5th, that is the 62 machine of Frank Zingen, the first driver below the cutoff line. Scott Simley in the 33 machine won last Sunday at Las Vegas. He will be the best qualifying non-playoff driver. Simley will roll off 6th. 7th will be the 97 of Jeff Pogo. Joe Hudson in that 23 machine. He will start in 8th. 9th going to the 6 car of Johnny Barker. And rounding out the top 10, that is the 4 car of Jim Ott. Tyler Waltz in the 9 machine will start 11th. 12th will be the 13 of Jason Wiley. Aiden Tatro in the 24 machine will roll off 13th. 14th, the 1 car of Brandon Guerin. Eli Raposa in the 46 will start 15th. Reba Caton in the 30 will start 16th. Ron Holyfield in the 25 will start 17th. 18th going to the 00 of Nate Brooker. Grant Humphrey will start 19th. 20th going to Brandon Hinton. 21st is Dylan Hinton. Evan Fuqua in the 70 machine will start 22nd, and Todd Parent here tonight will round out the field. It looks like Todd here not making the call for the initial green flag. We'll see if the 69 can tag on along, but here we go. iRacing pace car down on pit road. Steve Ritter on the loud pedal. We go green flag racing here for race number 2 of the round of 10. 2x2 here heading into turn number 1. Anthony Calatoni down on the grass, as that could have been big time trouble for a lot of drivers there. If they made some contact there, that would have been right in front of the entire field. So luckily everyone able to keep things rocking and rolling as a hectic start here. Lap number 1, we'll see if things calm on down, but it looks like lap number 1 will be led by the 2 car of Nick Larson. Top 5 already single filed on out here for the time being. Everyone kind of riding in there where they want to be here currently, but people still trying to make moves all around this racetrack. We got the 1 car here of Brandon Guerin taking a peek to the outside of Tyler Waltz. Guerin's going to have the momentum down the back straightaway. The 9 car, though, going to drive it in there pretty deep. Not as deep as the 1 car, as Brandon Guerin here trying to make that top side work. Up towards the front here, Frank Zing and Rob Lowell side by side. There's a battle here for that 4th position. And right behind them, Jeff Pogo kind of sits waiting in the wings, seeing which driver may come out on top, what lane that 97 wants to be in here. So you can see down the back straightaway, that top side has the momentum. Almost contact into 3. Some close, hard racing here between the 21 and the 62, but it looks like Rob Lowell going to hang on to that P number 4 spot here for the time being. Out in front, Nick Larson starting to put a little bit of gap on the field, about almost a second gap here to his teammate of Steve Ritter. So those two sit 1-2. Anthony Calatoni third, Rob Lowell fourth, Frank Zingen here rounding out the top 5, but maybe not for long, because here comes the 97 of Jeff Pogo. Pogo will slide it in there on that bottom side, make it stick, and he will take over that 5th position here. So almost kind of a home track race here for Pogo, as he will try and continue to work his way towards the front, up 2 spots here in these first 5 laps. So the biggest mover so far here tonight, this 00 of Nate Brooker, he is up 4 spots, and then Brandon Hinton right behind him, he is up 5 spots in these first 5 laps. Though Hinton once again under fire a little bit here from Caden in that Ghost 30 machine, but that 5 car will hang on to that spot for the time being, as things calming on down just a little bit here so far in this one, after kind of a little bit chaotic start here. Like I said, things kind of calming on down just a little bit, as Grant Humphrey and Dylan Hinton here side by side here out on the speedway. Humphrey, of course, off of that podium finish in his first ever start last week at Las Vegas. We'll see if he can kind of back that on up here tonight, as once again did not take a qualifying time, working his way up through this field, and should be interesting to see where that 48 machine shakes on out when it's all said and done. Like I said before here, Nick Larson out in front, about a second advantage over his teammate Steve Ritter. Then Anthony Calatoni about 5 car lengths or so off of the back bumper of Steve Ritter. So definitely within striking distance of there. But here we go, Jeff Pogo trying to pick up another position. Next driver in his sights, that 21 machine of Rob Lowell. Pogo will shade down to the bottom side here, entry of turn number 1. Rob will let him on by, saying, hey, there's still a lot of time left in this one. You know, over 100 laps, no need to really push the envelope, get yourself in a bad situation, anything like that. And I like the call there from that 21 machine. So Jeff Pogo here up into P number 3, as we take a look here a little bit deeper in the field. Grant Humphrey continuing to work his way up through this field, as Humphrey able to get around Caton there for that 16th spot. As a pretty good gaggle of race cars right here on the speedway, right behind, you know, Jeff Pogo, Rob Lowell, Frank Zingen, Johnny Barker, Jim Ott. These 4 cars kind of within 2 car lengths of each other, so we could have a pretty good battle here for 4 cars, and these 4 cars, you know, battling for a lot, all 4 of them in the playoffs here, and trying to have a really good night, at least I should say, especially compared to the other playoff drivers, because there's no win and you're in when you'd go to the next round. It's all about consistency for these 3 races. And here tonight, I mean, you can see that kind of caliber of drivers here in the playoffs. 9 of the 10 currently in the top 10 here tonight on lap number 10. So that goes to show that right now everyone's looking pretty good when it comes to here tonight. So points are going to be a premium, especially to those fellow 10 competitors. And just a quick reminder out here tonight, drivers with a playoff banner, whether blue or pink, they are in this round of playoffs here battling for position, as well as the blue numbers here in the time and scoring. That's another sign of a driver here in the playoffs. Only driver not inside this top 10, that is the 46 machine of Eli Raposa. Raposa currently in 18th, kind of had a tough outing in qualifying here, started deep in the field, and currently right there as we take a look here at Johnny Barker here trying to work over the 62 machine. Barker down low in the number 6. Frank Zingen up top in that 62. Jim Ott right behind as well. Ott almost into the back bumper there of that 62 machine. I say let's ride on board here with Jim Ott. Let's take a look at the roof cam, looking on forwards and trying to see him trying to get around here. Maybe Johnny Barker, as Barker kind of pinched down to that bottom side. Up in front of them, Anthony Calatoni able to get around Steve Ritter for that second position. So move the 84 machine up to P number 2. And you can hear tonight these things with these sequential gearboxes up to 5th gear. Everyone is shifting each end of the speedway, and that is because, of course, how kind of tight these corners are, how much you have to whoa up these race cars. I mean, down to, you know, below 100 miles an hour. Then up on the straightaways, we see upwards of 160, almost 170 as Frank Zingen there. Not a good exit. He kind of gets bobbled on up. We'll lose that spot to Johnny Barker and Jim Ott. So 62 machine going to try and put his head back down, try and make his way back up towards the front. Like I said there a moment ago, Anthony Calatoni here up to P number 2, and now Steve Ritter starting to become under fire by some more drivers as Jeff Pogo and Rob Lowell has started to catch that 61 machine here. So laps clicking on by here tonight. I remember last week here we had the normal night, 3 cautions on the night. Tonight could be something very, very similar, but right now, first 15 laps done and completed, no cautions here tonight. So should be interesting to see if we do get some drivers that have kind of fallen here through the pack. Looks like trouble here for the 24 machine of Aiden Tatro. Aiden down here on the apron in that 24. I was just about to say, it looks like Aiden gonna call it a night. Not sure if maybe a toe link broken on that 24 machine, but yeah, that thing definitely not driving well, and a tough break for Aiden, as that might be our first retirement of the night. We had 22 cars here take the green flag. Todd Parent not making the call for the green, as everyone else still out here on the speedway. But man, Nick Larson is checked on out from the field. Larson stretching out this race lead now almost to 2.5 seconds for this 2 machine. So Larson came into tonight above the cutoff line. What a story it would be if Larson can get into the final Fast 5, be in the round of 5, and have a shot at a championship. He is doing everything right here tonight, picking up a crucial bonus point for a lap led, and right now the only driver to lead some laps is the 2 machine. Eli Raposa here trying to make his way back up through the field, now battling a buddy here that was in the playoffs, got eliminated in the round of 15. Reba Kayan here under fire from that 46 machine, as Raposa will try and get back up to 17th here tonight. They'll go side by side off the turn number 2, and Raposa will complete the pass, will get that spot on away. Frank Zingen, after that little slip up here, hasn't been able to kind of match the pace of the cars in front of him. So Zingen now falling under fire here now to Scott Simley, as well as the Hardy's 23 machine of Joe Hudson. So both those cars right here on the back bumper of Frank Zingen, as here we go, Scott Simley taking a peek to the inside of the 62 into turn number 3. This is where the bottom side is a little bit better than the top, just because it's that sweeping corner. The top side has to make it such a long distance around that corner, but here in 1 and 2, the top side is where it's at, because you can get that nice run, get to the power a little bit earlier than the car to your inside, and with that carry a lot of speed off the corner, though. Frank Zingen going to get a piece of the wall right there off of turn number 2. That definitely won't help the momentum. He will lose the 8th spot there to Simley, the 9th now to Joe Hudson. So Frank Zingen here falling out back just a little bit, and these two going back at it here once again. Brandon Guerin and Tyler Watts side by side once again. Right behind them, here comes Grant Humphrey. Wow, quick reaction time there by Grant not to get into the back bumper of that 6 machine. The 48 had to cut that wheel super quick to the left to not hit the 9, but man, that was a close call right there between the two of them. Luckily, no harm, no foul for either of them as Grant Humphrey continues to work his way towards the front. Same with that 00 of Nate Brooker here once again. So all those cars here looking pretty sporty, and already, folks, under 100 laps left in this one here tonight. So laps clicking on by quickly here at Gateway. I mean, lap time's just over half a minute long, so 2 laps you're gonna get done with that. As trouble for a playoff driver Johnny Barker here off the pace, left front damage for the 6 machine. Not sure what happened to Barker there, but gonna lose a ton of track position now, all the way down to 15th. As we'll try and take a look here, see what happened to Barker there off of turn number 2. Barker getting close to the back bumper of his teammate there, and it looks like just losing the back end of that race car. Tank slaps that inside wall, so you got to wonder how's the damage on that 6 car, and more importantly, how is the handling of that Wolfpack Racing 6, because Johnny Barker going to be nursing that race car around. And as we know here with the 802 iRacing League, cautions are a premium. So Grant Humphrey and Nate Brooker both around Frank Zingen. Now here comes Brandon Hinn in that 5 machine, so he will get around the 62. And now here comes Tyler Watts. Watts will use a little bit of 8-wheel action compared to 4 right there, as those two will make a little bit of contact into turn number 3. And I think, that was no harm, no foul. I think Waltz will back it on down and let that 62 kind of have that spot for a time being. And that is kind of the tough thing to kind of do here tonight, is judge corner entry, because you're carrying so much speed, and especially if you got to pinch that race car on down with a car to your high side, it can be very, very tough to judge. Luckily with these cars, can take a little bit of beating and banging, though. You got to be careful with hits on the rear tires and whatnot, because as we see many of times, toe links aren't the strongest on these race cars here. Grant Humphrey inside the top 10 for the first time here tonight. 48 machine now right on the back bumper of Brandon Guerin. Humphrey will take a peek to the inside into turn number 3. He will try and complete the pass, though. Guerin going to try and hang strong on the top side, but can't quite get it done right there, as Grant Humphrey will take over 9th. Up towards the front here, Steve Ritter back to P number 2, so Ritter putting the pressure on Cal Tony for quite a few laps there. And Steve Ritter, once again, we've seen that 61 car many of times take it easy at the start of a run, and especially if a run builds into a long run, we see that 61 continue to have some of the best race pace late in a run. And here tonight, it might be the same story for the 61. Out in front, though, I tell you what, Nick Larson has done his homework. That 2 machine absolutely flying out here tonight. But he's got to be careful. I mean, tire fall off, a huge factor here at Gateway. Best laps for most drivers in the high 32s, like a 32.8 to a 33.0 last time by. Right here at the stripe, Nick Larson with a 34.32, so almost a 2-second fall off in 30 laps. That's why race pace and keeping your tires underneath you is going to be the name of the game here tonight. Here kind of in the mid-pack in this one, Joe Hudson taking a peek to the inside of Scott Simley. Simley, of course, the best running non-playoff driver here currently, but Grant Humphrey, he is a man on a mission, already up 10 spots from where he started tonight, and Humphrey still starting to track down these cars in front of him. I mean, last time by, Humphrey about 2 to 3 tenths better than this gaggle of cars right here on track. So that 48 machine making up time in a hurry here, as Joe Hudson here trying to pick up another position into turn number 3. That would be the 4 car of Jim Ott, and Hudson going to do just that. A nice entry, nice and smooth, and man, Joe Hudson on a mission here once again. Up in front of them, Rob Lowell going to take a peek to the inside of Jeff Pogo. Those two going to go side by side here for that 4th position. Rob Lowell trying to put the power down there, gets a little bit sideways, but trying to keep that momentum, can't quite do it. I got to wonder, is Cal Tony here holding up this pack just a little bit, as Pogo will shade to the high side now, maybe going to try a crossover move here off of turn number 4. We saw it Friday night with the Busch Series. It was very, very tough to complete a pass on someone. It was easy kind of to track someone down, get a run on someone, but it was a whole nother story to complete a pass once you get side by side, especially, you know, most of the times everyone will give you the bottom side. Well, it is tough to get off the corner like we just saw with that 21 machine, so we'll have to see if that continues to be the case. But there we go, Grant Humphrey around Jim Ott for 8th. Now Humphrey going to try and get around Simley to be the best running non-playoff driver here tonight at Gateway. Both of these drivers up on the podium last Sunday night at Las Vegas. We'll see if that can be the case here tonight. Both of them, of course, inside of the top 10 here, but continuing to try and make their way up towards the front. Johnny Barker here trying to rebound after smacking the inside wall there off of turn number 2. Currently trying to get around Tyler Waltz in that number 9 machine. So Barker last time by a little bit off the pace compared to the front runners. But where he's currently running at, still having that pace to at least run that. So if I had to guess, that damage is affecting that 6 car just quite a bit, I would say. Like I said, Barker needed a pretty good night here tonight. He was the driver on the cutoff line for those top 5 spots, so gonna have his work cut out for him, as a lot of the playoff drivers, like we see here, 7 of the 10 currently inside the top 10. Drivers outside of the top 10 that are in the playoff here: Frank Zingen in 13th, Johnny Barker 14th, and Eli Raposa in 16th here. If I had to guess for strategy here tonight, I have a feeling we won't really see anyone trying to stop it, let's say. I think everyone's going to try and make it to lap 60 or so to kind of have that pace and go from there. As here we go, Grant Humphrey now up into P number 7, able to get around that 33 machine. Rob Lowell, we saw him try and make a move there on Jeff Pogo. Since then has kind of fallen off the back bumper of that 97 machine. So that has allowed Joe Hudson to kind of run down that 21. So Joe Hudson within striking distance here of that 21 machine. A little bit of lap traffic starting to form on up here tonight, as Fuquay here in the 70 machine now 1 lap down, as Anthony Calatoni trying to get on around him, and he's got to be careful, can't leave the door open too much, because Jeff Pogo sits there right behind him as well. But that 70 machine gets up out of the way, down on the bottom side, down the back straightaway there. Eli Raposa able to get around there, Tyler Walt. So that puts playoff drivers outside of the top 10 now, all in a line, 13th, 14th, and 15th. And you can see them still catching Frank Zingen. So Zingen not having the pace he probably wants here tonight. Probably frustrated behind the wheel of that 62 machine as he is continuing to slide. And Johnny Barker, even with that damage, once again running down that 62 machine here. But I tell you what, we got to give a lot of props to this guy's first 40 laps here in the books, and that has been led here by the 2 machine of Nick Larson. So let's ride on board with Nick Larson here and go for a lap, see what our race leader is doing, because he is absolutely having some blistering pace here tonight at Gateway. Looks like we had the mic off there for a moment. Sorry about that, folks. We were saying there, Jeff Pogo still stuck behind Anthony Calatoni. So like we were saying earlier in the night, passing will be at a premium, especially as these tires continue to go and fade on away off of these race cars. Jim Ott down and away off of pit road. The first playoff driver onto pit road was the 4 machine, nice and safely on and off there. So definitely trying the 2-stop strategy here tonight. We'll see how that works on out as we have another taker to pit road here, the 13 machine of Jason Wiley. Eli Raposa here now trying to get around Frank Zingen for that position. So that is a battle for the 13th position. Right behind them is the 25 or the 27 on the car of Ron Holyfield. So Zingen could be in jeopardy of losing 2 spots here in this one, but he is going to try to hang on strong, hang on to that top side here tonight. Going to hold off for Raposa, at least down the back straightaway, but here through 3 and 4, like I said, bottom side, if you can roll the momentum, it is quick, and Raposa going to do just that. So Eli Raposa here up into 13th. Once again, we see Joe Hudson here trying to get around Rob Lowell in the 21. Hudson down low, Lowell way up the racetrack there through 3 and 4. Going to try and keep the momentum. Going to go for the crossover here down the front straightaway. I think Rob, though, had to lift just a little bit not to get in the back of that 23 machine. So that puts Joe Hudson here inside the top 5 for the first time here tonight. Nick Larson for the first time here tonight starting to lose some of that race lead here in this one, as Steve Ritter, one of the fastest cars here currently on the racetrack. So we saw Ritter really take his time, take care of his stuff, starting to turn it back up, as now we see Jeff Pogo here down on pit road. So Pogo, being stuck by Calatoni, said, you know what, I want a short pit, jump in front of the 84 machine, and he will do just that as Pogo down on pit road here. Take a look here at the track map on the right side of our screen here. Whatever car we are looking at will be, of course, highlighted green as we get close here to start lap number 50 of 120. So starting to get very, very close to the halfway point, as I don't know if there's trouble there, but Eli Raposa kind of slow, I think, just heading to pit road. Yes, it is the 46 machine of Raposa now coming on down to pit road here. Oh man, we got Jim, the man out there in the YouTube chat lands. Appreciate you tuning on in, as yeah, a lot of movement here in the middle part of this race. I mean, tire fall off, a huge part here tonight at Gateway, like we talked about a little bit before. Now fall off up to 2 seconds, so a lot of time here with these tires. It should make it really interesting to see how the 2-stop strategy versus the 1-stop strategy works on out. As hey, that's pretty cool as well. I guess if you like the stream there, the thumbs up or the thumb turns into a tire. That's pretty cool to hear. I'll have to check that out myself, as well as YouTube always kind of doing kind of cool stuff like that and whatnot. As we have 2 more cars here down on pit road. That is Brandon Guerin as well as Reba Caton. So both those cars here down on pit road. Now Frank Zingen, we kind of saw him struggling with the handling of the 62. He will finally bring it on down to pit road here as well. So Joe Hudson here has run down now Anthony Calatoni. We'll see if Hudson can try and get on around, as I tell you what, Calatoni has only been really passed by 1 car. Everyone else has been able to get to the back bumper of the 84. Has been a totally different case to try and get on around that 84 here. As the best running driver here on new tires, Jim Ott here currently continuing to slice and dice his way up through the pack here. His teammate of Jeff Pogo, though, right behind him as well. Those 2 drivers, the first cars 1 lap down here currently, and I tell you what, could be on pace to kind of get back on the lead lap before those cars pit here, and that would be a big deal, because if a caution would come out, you know, they could be on the lead lap, have an opportunity to pit and whatnot. As here we go, Pogo taking a look to the inside of Ott. Ott will go to the high side of Calatoni, split him 3 wide for a quick second. And that goes to show just how much of an advantage there those new tires are. Now we see another playoff driver here down on pit road, Rob Lowell. He will bring the 21 machine down to pit road here. Ron Holyfield here looking to the inside of Johnny Barker. This is a battle here currently for the 9th position. Holyfield going to do just that, as Brandon Hinn didn't get a good exit. Barker had to kind of lift for the 5 machine as well. It looks like Barker will get on by his, a late pit call there by the 5 machine. He'll bring it into pit road. Luckily able to get around the other Hinton of Dylan Hinton right there. So Nate Brooker here down on pit road, as well as Brandon Hinton, as the green flag pit stops here tonight. Full swing here in this one. Pretty much now the top 9 have yet to visit pit road. The first driver that has is the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. And Pogo now the next car behind Nick Larson. So here in probably a few laps, Pogo will be back on the lead lap here in this one. As within a few laps, how about within the lap, as Jeff Pogo here gets back on the lead lap the hard way there, able to get around our race leader of Nick Larson. Here we go once again. Joe Hudson putting a lot of pressure on Anthony Calatoni, but Calatoni here holding strong, holding off that hard charging 23 machine. As now we see Johnny Barker here finally down on pit road, can kind of assess a little bit more of that damage to that 6 car, and especially get those kind of worn tires off of that race car here. I tell you what, Nick Larson just has to lead just only 3 more laps, and Larson will walk away with the 3 bonus points of the most laps led, because he has led every lap since the drop of the green flag. And since the drop of the green flag, no cautions yet here tonight. This race has been clean and green here at Gateway. Right behind him, Johnny Barker as well as Brandon Hinton, both of those cars on fresh tires here. Barker now down to 1 lap down. Hinton trying to do the same to move himself 1 lap down and eligible for the wave round spot. So definitely a big move to be made by the 5 car to get back on the lead lap here. And he'll do that pretty easily with those fresh tires off the turn number 2. As here we go, we see our race leader here tonight, Nick Larson, right before the halfway point. He will bring the 2 car down to the access road, and Nick Larson here will head to pit road here in this one. That will hand over the race lead here to Steve Ritter, as Ritter will take over the point, and Ritter could lead right at the cross flags here. So the only other driver here to lead a lap and more importantly get that bonus point will be the 61 machine of Steve Ritter. Right behind them, Joe Hudson was able to get around Anthony Calatoni, so Calatoni starting to fall off the pace. The 84 machine here will head down to pit road here right away, as Calatoni will bring that car in for service. Same with the 61 of Steve Ritter. Ritter will head to pit road, and that will leave here Joe Hudson at the cross flags, our race leader. So halfway down, halfway home here tonight for the Gateway, I think 150, but I'll have to double check. As yeah, that just leaves, a few drivers yet to pit. Hudson, Humphrey, and Holyfield, as Ritter, Calatoni, Simley, and Dylan Hinton all down on pit road here currently. So Rob Lowe there able to get around the 23 machine. That'll put the 21 here back onto the lead lap here in this one. 13 machine of Jason Wiley now trying to do the same as Nick Larson with some of the freshest tires here in this one, as he will get on by as well. So Larson back on the lead lap as well as the 13 machine of Jason Wiley. He will go now to 1 lap down here currently. Joe Hudson here heading to pit road, so the 23 machine will come in for his service, though trouble for him on the access road. Back end will step out from that 23 machine. Will lose precious time right there for Hudson. Oh man, big time mistake there from the 23 machine. We'll see if he can rebound with those fresher tires, but gonna lose a little bit of time there on pit road as well. As here we go, Grant Humphrey down to pit road. That only leaves 1 car yet to pit. That is the 27 on the race car of Ron Holyfield here. Though he is not our race leader, because with the pace of the old tires and whatnot, Jeff Pogo has taken over the point, as Holyfield will bring it down to pit road. That will complete our cycle of green flag pit stops here tonight at Gateway. And with the conclusion of that, new race leader out in front. It will be Jeff Pogo here leading the way. Pogo will pick up a bonus point for a lap led in this one. His teammate Jim Ott here right off of turn number 2. He currently sits in that second position. Third currently is Rob Lowell, but he is getting dragged down here pretty quick by some fresher tires right behind him of the 2 machine of Nick Larson. Larson was the car to beat in the first half of the race. Should be interesting to see what Larson can do now that he has some traffic out in front of him for the first time here tonight. So about 55 laps left in this one here tonight as Eli Raposa and Nate Brooker here side by side. This is a battle for the 12th position as Brooker will get that spot up here more towards the front. Anthony Calatoni getting around Tyler Waltz for that 6th position. So a lot of drivers on different pit stops, trying to cycle on up, trying to hang on to track position. And the biggest tire difference we kind of see here tonight is about lap 62 or 63. That is Joe Hudson, Grant Humphrey currently 10th and 11th. Whereas Jim Ott, he last pitted on lap 40. So Ott already has 25 laps on his set of tires here. So that goes to show, does have the track position, but we got to keep an eye on the lap times. We'll relay that here once Jim Ott here passes the start finish line. Last time by for the 4 machine, he was able to put down a 34.14, whereas those guys on those fresh tires last time by a 33.21 for Hudson. We'll keep the camera on him here, see what he is able to do at the stripe as a 23 machine last time by a 33.33, and Grant Humphrey a 33.58. So right there, already half a second better, and that could only continue to grow as the tires wear on out from under that 4 machine. Now that we are in the second half of this race, I'm going to go turn it on over, let the cars do a little bit of talking, and we'll do a little turn 3, turn it up here tonight from Gateway. Alrighty, folks, we come back in here to see now that Nick Larson has run down Jim Otto Larson on those little bit fresher tires. He has run down our P2 runner, so we'll see if Larson can get the job done. Probably will do just that here in turns 1 and 2. Larson down on the bottom side, up on the top, and Nick Larson here up to P2, so right back to where he started here in this one. Deeper in the field, another driver here trying to make up some track position with some fresher tires. That is the 23 machine of Joe Hudson, taking a peek to the inside of Brandon Guerin in that one machine. Hudson once again able to drive that car in there deep, carry that momentum on that bottom side with those tires, and off of turn number 4, it's going to be a heads-up drag race down these long straightaways here at Worldwide Technology. Both of them will drive it in there pretty hard. Brandon Guerin, though, will drive it in there harder. Joe Hudson will carry the momentum in the middle of the corner once again, side by side between the two of them. And this is what I was saying, folks. Passing is a premium. Even with the tire advantage, Joe Hudson there had to spend a full lap there side by side with Brandon Guerin. And even off of turn number 4, still couldn't quite slam the door shut on the one car. Maybe a little bit of trade and some paint there in 1 and 2. But Hudson will finally complete the pass. So move the 23 machine here back up into 8th. And actually back where that 23 machine started. He rolled off 77 laps ago in that 8th position, but out in front it is still Jeff Pogo leading the way over Nick Larson. The last time by, Larson about a half of a tenth better than Pogo, so that 2 machine definitely has the pace to run down this 97. But you know, it looks like the likes of Rob Lowe, Steve Ritter, they have much more of their work cut out for them late in this one, because we're already getting close to, about 40 laps to go. And with that, you have to knock off, if you're like Calatoni, about 10 seconds back. You got to knock off at least about 0.2 of a second a lap. Luckily for him, he is doing just that compared to Jeff Pogo. So Calatoni will have to try and keep on that pace here for the rest of this race. As after the green flag pit stops, few cars here still 1 lap down. Frank Zingen currently the first car 1 lap down, so the 62 machine in the lucky dog spot. But the bad news for the 62, he is the lowest running driver currently of the 10 drivers in the round of 10, looking to make their way here for a championship run. That is, of course, at the conclusion of next Sunday night's race. We will take the top 5 in points. Then those 5 will have 3 races between themselves to decide who will be season number 6 champion. We hear a driver here coming to pit road, the 4 machine of Jim Ott. Ott, though, into the grass a little bit, somehow able to keep that race car underneath him and not have any loss of control, anything like that. So Ott starting to get kind of swallowed up by some of the rest of the field here. Heading to pit road, looking to put some new tires on that race car. That means that 4 car gonna be going for it this last stint here in this one. Another driver that was early down onto pit road here. Once again to pit road, the 9 car of Tyler Waltz. So the question becomes, when does Jeff Pogo here bring that 97 machine to pit road? He was one of the other drivers that pitted right before the halfway point, kind of short pitted this race, and right now in jeopardy of losing this race lead, as Nick Larson, the driver that was the car to beat in the first half of this one, has reeled back in Jeff Pogo, and Larson looking to take back over the race lead here tonight. Larson knows he has time on his side, doesn't have to push the envelope, doesn't have to make a crazy aggressive move, anything like that. He just has to try and set this 97 on up, wait for maybe Jeff Pogo to make a rare mistake, and then go and capitalize on that. As Larson right now right on the back bumper here of Jeff Pogo. Let's take a look here, riding on board with Pogo, looking on back to Larson here. Larson to the inside there, and you can see him able to get on that throttle nice and early, able to shoot on off, and a quick pass there for the race lead. Nick Larson back to the point here tonight at Gateway. And I think Larson is good to go in the fuel department to the end of this race. He last pitted on 59, should be able to make it to the end. So this 2-car looking in a really, really good spot. He is just hoping no caution here falls in the end of this one. Jim Ott back out here on the racetrack, and Ott one of his best lap times last time by. So like I said, the 4-car was going to be hauling the mail here in this one. He is doing just that, trying to see what kind of time he can make on up, see what kind of track position he can make up as well. As you can see there, Nick Larson right at the stripe right now. Jim Ott just coming off of turn number 4, so Ott at minimum needs to at least run down the 2-car. Larson, get back on this lead lap. Because even as they currently run, Ott not in the lucky dog spot here as well. Joe Hudson here has once again run down Scott Simley. Between the two of them, about a 2-lap tire advantage to the 23 machine. So that's how Simley was able to get in front of the 23. Also remember, Hudson had a little bit of a bobble there on the access road coming to pits. Lost a lot of time there, but able to kind of make it back on up. Not, of course, back to Anthony Calatoni, but one spot behind the 84 here in 6th. Steve Ritter has started to run down his Wolfpack Racing teammate Rob Lowell, now within about 10 car lengths of him or so. So Ritter going to try and keep the pedal pushed on down here. He led the field to the green flag. Definitely good to the end of this one. So we'll see if Ritter can get on by the 21, as both of those drivers need a good point tonight. I mean, we'll take a look at the points. So it's Anthony Calatoni leading the way, a 1-point advantage over Jim Ott, then a 4-point advantage over Jeff Pogo. Then 2 points behind Pogo sits Larson in 4th. Then 1 point behind Larson sits Johnny Barker in 5th. Then we head back to another 1 point. Frank Zingen, the first car below the cut line, like I said, just by 1 point compared to the 6th car. Then a little bit of a jump then. Eli Raposa 7 points back. Rob Lowell then 8 points back. And then Joe Hudson 9 points back. And then, yeah, Steve Ritter all the way, I want to say about 17 points back from that cutoff line. So Ritter really needs a good run here in this one, as well as a good run next week. So far here tonight, though, doing a great job at that, as Ritter sits in that 4th position and could maybe get around his teammate for 3rd. Jim Ott there able to get around Ron Holyfield, so that will put Jim Ott into the lucky dog spot here as this Ford machine trying to rip this pace and see what he has in store. Probably won't be enough time to make up a whole entire lap, but could definitely race his way back up into the top 10 before it's all said and done. About 30 laps left in this one, 5 laps away from the old countdown clock, so starting to get towards the end of this one here in a hurry. But so far this race has been a good one here. No cautions in these first 92 laps, as that is awesome to see. We have the 30 machine of Caden down on pit road as well. So it looks like, yeah, only one retirement out of the race here tonight. Aiden Tatro was the retirement. Todd Parent not making the call, and then everyone else still out here, still clicking off laps here at Gateway. As Rob Lowell has now started to reel in the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. Remember, Pogo trying to hang on to this pace with these worn tires, trying to stay on in front, because remember, he pitted right behind Anthony Calatoni, currently in front of him, but Calatoni now within about 2 seconds of the 97 machine. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this works on out. As you can see, second through about 5th here, all on the same straightaway, all within the same corner as well. As off of turn number 4, Rob Lowell will try and get clear, can't quite do it, as Jeff Pogo will try and carry the momentum up on the top side. Those two will enter right next to each other. The Rob Lowell will drive it in there deep, make sure he gets clear of the 97, so move Lowell up into P number 2. Steve Ritter, the next car, going to be trying to get on around the 97 machine of Pogo. He will take a peek to the inside here through 3 and 4. Ritter able to get a nose in, and once again a heads up drag race here down the front straightaway. So Jeff Pogo, maybe seeing the big picture of things, wants to of course make these passes as tough as possible for these other drivers, but he knows he's at a pretty big tire disadvantage, wants to try and keep as much track position as he can. And I think worst case scenario for the 97, if this race goes green to the end, he will fall back to about that 5th position, so right about where he did pit. So Jim I here trying to get around a playoff driver. Very important points right here in this one, as I will do just that with those fresh tires. Now Eli Raposa, the next car in jeopardy of going 1 lap down. The first car 1 lap down is now Johnny Barker. So Barker, of course, with that damage on the 6th machine, not able to keep the exact pace he probably needs to see, and that's definitely affected him. Currently 1 lap down, as now that time by at the stripe, we now see 24 laps left in this one. Anthony Calatoni able to get around Jeff Pogo for that 4th position. So like I said, Jeff Pogo should be able to hang on to 5th, even if this race goes green to the end, even with these older tires. The question is that fuel gauge on the 97. Does he have enough to stretch it to the end of this one? Nate Brooker here starting to run down Brandon Guerin in that 1 machine. So let's ride on board here with Guerin looking on back here to that 00. As these two kind of the closest battle on the speedway, and this is setting up for a battle for that 9th position. As we see Brandon Guerin way up the racetrack, up in the marbles there in 1 and 2. And that will allow Nate Brooker to get to the bottom, but not able to complete the pass. So Guerin, even with that kind of racing up there in the marbles, going to be able to keep that momentum for that time being, as those two once again here side by side for that 9th position. And it looks like Nate Brooker will take that spot on away. This time by, it is now 20 to go at the stripe. And look at this, folks. Our race leader, Nick Larson, maybe with some damage on that 2 machine. Larson, maybe a little bit of right front damage there. As you can see, that fender kind of pushed on in right above that right front headlight. So we'll keep an eye on the pace from Larson. But the car to beat might have a little bit more work to do here tonight, as Larson here last time by not the pace he needed. Now we'll update it here. Last time by at 34.63. Rob Lowe though at 34.24. So our race leader definitely losing a little bit of time to the cars behind him. The most that Larson can afford to lose with under 20 laps to go is about a 10th or so a lap, and right now it's closer to 2/10 a lap. Battle for the best running non-playoff driver here underway, as Grant Humphrey trying to get around Scott Simley for that 7th position. Simley up top, Humphrey down on the bottom side. And it looks like it'll be heads up racing side by side here down the front straightaway with now 18 laps left in this one. Humphrey will sail it in on the bottom side. Let that car kind of wash on up just a little bit. Try and get that exit off on the bottom side. Very, very tough to do to get a good run exiting low off of turn number 2. But Humphrey going to do just that. Humphrey with the advantage into turn number 3. And Grant Humphrey will take over P number 7. Now it's going to be 17 to go here at the stripe. So Steve Ritter has been able to get within about a half a second of Rob Lowe. Hasn't been able to kind of crack inside of that here yet. So we'll see if maybe in these last 16 laps of 61 can get on by, as Ritter needs every single point that he can get here tonight. Try and recover after a tough race there at Las Vegas. Remember, Ritter in this one already in a deep deficit to try and dig himself out of about, I want to say, 18 or so points. Yeah, 18 or so points off of Johnny Barker. But right now, at least with, quite a few cars down below him, that is what Steve Ritter needs. But he pretty much needs the best possible finish that he can have the next few races. Things definitely pretty calm here out on the racetrack. Don't really see anything too close to, battling. But one car hard in the wall there off of turn number 4. That is that 46 machine of Eli Raposa. You can see the damage to the right front of Raposa there. As, a big time shot there to the wall off of turn number 4. Now put Raposa in the lucky dog spot. The first car 1 lap down, and that thing definitely looks pretty wounded. He'll have to see if he can keep that pace and try and keep Johnny Barker here behind him, because that is a pretty important spot. Both those cars in these playoffs. So that spot really, really matters between the two of them. I was saying that, Jeff Pogo probably going to finish 5th here at worst case scenario. That is not the case, as now Pogo under fire from Joe Hudson. So Pogo with that very, very old tires on the race car, that pace definitely falling off that race car. Still about half a tenth or so off the cars around him, and we can see him definitely paying for that. But he will make this pass as hard as possible for every car that catches the 97, because he currently now sits 5 cars up in front of him, and that is not what he wants to see for these 5 cars that do advance to the next round. As Hudson here will try and drive on away here from the 97 machine. Once again, Rob Lowell, Steve Ritter, Anthony Calatoni starting to close up to one another out here on the speedway. So should be interesting to see how this works on out. Grant Humphrey now to the inside of Jeff Pogo. So Humphrey will get that spot on away. So Grant Humphrey now going to be up into the 6th position now. And next time by, we'll see now 2 open hands from the flagman. It will be 10 laps to go, and Nick Larson, his lead continuing to wane on away. Does he have enough speed to hold on to it? As that time by, we see 10 to go here left at Gateway here tonight. Though the one thing Larson would love to see is these 3 drivers starting to duke it out between them. That being Rob Lowell, Steve Ritter, and Anthony Calatoni. These 3 starting to get close to one another, starting to get within striking distance, and late in the race, I mean, even if someone's your teammate, you got to get every point you can. So now single digits left in this one here. 9 to go last time by. It's going to be now 8 to go at the stripe. Current Jim update after the 2-stop strategy. Now reeling in Nate Brooker for that 9th position. So definitely could be walking away with a top 10 finish. But I'm sure that 4 car probably wanted a little bit more. But all things considered, with his teammates still in 7th, could be walking away with 9. It could be a lot worse of a day than that. Steve Ritter, Anthony Calatoni now going side by side. So Calatoni starting to put some pressure here on that 61 machine. Though Brandon Guerin, a lap car, going to be to the top side of both of them. Though Guerin going to lift on out of it, stay up and out of the way. As though Anthony Calatoni going to get up on the podium here late in this one. So Calatoni back up to P number 3, right where that 84 machine started. Scott Simley now has reeled in Jeff Pogo for that 7th position. So Pogo will go to the high side. Simley down low in that 33 machine. Those two almost going to trade some paint between the two of them. But Scott Simley will take over that spot. That will now actually put Jeff Pogo in 8th. Jim Ott now up into 9th. So those two teammates with kind of similar pit strategy calls of when they decided to pit. Though Ott taking the option to pit a second time. Jeff Pogo deciding to stay on out. And right now working on well for Ott, because it still worked out. Still 1 spot behind Jeff Pogo there. Rob Lowell with a moment there off of turn number 2. I believe that 21 machine may have gotten loose. I don't think there was any contact or anything like that between the two of them. But Rob Lowell will fall back to 3rd. That'll put Steve Ritter up into, I believe, 2nd here. Sorry, into 3rd, as Calatoni up into 2nd. As Rob Lowell just a little bit of wheel spin. That will shoot the car down low, and Yeah, that will do it. Cost him 2 spots late in this one. Ron Holyfield here trying to get around Johnny Barker. This would be a battle for the 11th position late in this one, because next time by at the stripe for the 2 machine, we will now see 3 laps to go here tonight at Gateway. Ron Holyfield taking a peek to the inside. Not going to be able to get position on the 6 car, so going to try and set him on up here off at turn number 2. Going to get a pretty good run here, but once again going to stay tucked behind that 6 machine for the time being. Anthony Calatoni starting to run down our race leader, though. I think it's not going to be enough time here left in this one, as Calatoni about 0.6 of a second back with 2.5 laps left in this one. Calatoni might get one and only one shot at it, as Eli Raposa here late in this one down on pit road. So the 46 machine, a tough race here in race number 2. As this time by for Nick Larson, we'll see popsicle sticks up in the air. It is 2 laps to go from Gateway. They're off of turn number 4. We saw Anthony Calatoni get a piece of the wall, so we know Calatoni trying to use up that race car as much as possible. But luckily for Larson, he has a little bit of lap traffic between them. As here we go through 3 and 4, Nick Larson just wants to see this white flag and get this race done and over with. Brandon Guerin there bouncing it off the wall, but no harm, no foul. We will get the white flag. 1 more to go here tonight. Nick Larson here down the backstretch for the final time. And I tell you what, I got to double check the stats, see when the last time this driver was to victory lane. But here, he was the driver to beat. He will get the job done, and his first career win will come tonight here at Gateway. Wow, Nick Larson, a lot of pressure on him, needing a good race. He's in the round of 10, and Nick Larson will get the job done for his first career win. Wow, that is awesome to see, and a big time moment for the 2 machine. I can't wait to talk to him here in the post-race show. And of course, the post-race show will be chatting with Steve Ritter, Anthony Calatoni, as well as Nick Larson. But here we go. We keep the cameras on the 2 machine as Nick Larson, for the first time in his career, gets to burn it on down and celebrate here in Victory Lane. Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was Nick Larson burning it on down here. So after a quick commercial break, we'll be back with our post-race show. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Gateway for our post-race show. The first driver we'll be talking to here tonight is the driver of the 61. It will be Steve Ritter here tonight, finishing in P number 3. Steve, do you got a copy?
I do, Brett. How you doing?
We are doing pretty good. How are you feeling, my man, after 120 laps here at Gateway here tonight?
Pretty good. I mean, having a solid weekend here at Gateway. 2 top 5s. I'll take that any day, any weekend we go to. So.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, on the podium as well for both of them chatting with me. And I mean, that's got to feel pretty good, all things considered, as well as you swept the weekend for the Riptide Radio Pole Awards as well. How about that?
Yeah, I don't know where I pulled that lap out of tonight, but I'm glad I got laid it down and got 2 pole awards for the weekend out of it and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. It's been a while since we've seen someone sweep the pole awards, and here this weekend you were on it here at Gateway. And I mean, what is the key with this track? I've heard many of times, this is like a flat or a Darlington, and that track, very driver-esque track. Here tonight, same thing. Is it all about just getting that car right on the edge of the limit without cracking those tires free?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think it's had just a lot of patience on the throttle, just being able to really get the most out of the tire in the corner without scrubbing them and wearing them out. So just really light on the throttle. I, again, rolled the bottom most of the race. I did go up high a little bit in that second run, but I actually thought I was hurting my tires up there, so I went back to the bottom at the end. But yeah, I think just being light on that throttle and being patient.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I mean, overall, man, you had a good strategy pitted right there, right around the halfway point. Was that the game plan coming into tonight? And I mean, who would have guessed this race would have went green to checkered? I mean, I know with these guys, it's always a possibility, but Gateway, not the easiest track for you guys to do that. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, I did not think it would go green the checker. And when it was looking that way, that's when I, to maximize the tire wear, pit it halfway and kind of run the stints the same way. So that was kind of, once it looked that way, that was the plan, and that's the way it worked out. So.
Yeah, that it did. And of course, the big storyline with the 61 coming into tonight, coming in 10th in the points, needing to be the top 5. But here tonight, putting it together, a solid effort, bonus point for leading the lap, finishing 3rd. And I think leaving tonight, you now sit only, I want to say, about 8 points back from that cutoff line in 5th. That's looking a lot better than what you came into. And I tell you what, probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, Vegas was unfortunate. Tonight actually made us feel, makes you feel better. Homestead's one of my favorites, so hopefully we can get it rolling there and get back into that top 5 and race for the championship at the end.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be the case there. Homestead, always a really racy track, and can't wait to see what you have in store. But man, I tell you what, once again, Steve, we saw you take it easy on the start and then continue to charge your way on up. And kind of like we saw with the Busch series race, this track changed a little bit and didn't quite maybe have the long run pace you needed to run down Nick Larson. What more did you need from the car there at the end in that second stint?
I don't know, man. Nick was fast. I practiced with him all week. I couldn't catch him in practice either. So I don't know what he figured out, but that dude was bad fast. So I don't know if anyone would have caught him. And I don't think anyone knew, but just being on the team chat, The last, I don't know how many laps. You'll have to ask him when you interview him. He actually had wheel damage. That's why we were catching him. It wasn't because he was slowing down.
Yeah, we definitely saw that on the broadcast, some damage on the right front quarter panel. I was like, oh no, that's the last thing he needed. But luckily for him, had enough pace just to hold on because, man, if this race was probably even 5 laps longer, it could have been very interesting there at the end.
Yeah, I think it would have been. Yeah, I think it would have been.
Yeah, awesome stuff for you here tonight, though, Steve, up on the podium both nights here, of course, with here at Gateway, and like you said, looking forward to Homestead. How are you feeling about those chances, though, when it comes to the big picture with the playoffs?
Well, I mean, again, Homestead's one of my better, or I don't know, better, but favorite tracks. I like racing there, so we're comfortable there. Just trying to get into the top 5 on every one of these to make it into the top 5. So take it race by race right now.
Yep, and that is going to be the key. So we'll see what you got next Sunday night, Steve, as I look forward to seeing you there. But for here tonight, we, of course, got to hand over the mic to you one last time here and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Rob, all my teammates at Wolfpack, you for doing these broadcasts. Bone Dry Roofing, they came on. We do a great job with roof siding. If you guys ever need anything, we got 8 locations all over the country, so look us up. And, yeah, thanks, Brett.
All righty, awesome stuff, Steve. Well, thanks again for taking the time and chatting with me here. And you, my man, have yourself a great rest of the night. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next week at Homestead.
Sounds good. Thanks, buddy. Have a good night.
Thank you. You as well. That was our 3rd place finisher, the 61 machine of Steve Ritter. Now we'll head up to our runner-up finisher, the driver coming in with the points lead, walking away with the points lead. It is the 84 machine of Anthony Calatoni. Anthony, do you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All righty, man. First and foremost, how are you feeling after 120 laps here at Gateway?
My left foot is sore from all the braking, and my blood pressure is through the roof.
Yeah, I was going to say we can start at the end of the race. A little bit of lap traffic there and almost spelling trouble there for the 84. What was your thought process there, and what was going on through your mind?
My thought process is that he should have yielded to me with 5 laps to go, but I even asked him. I even said, please move. So, because I at first I didn't even realize that I was running Nick down. I didn't even know there was a problem until I looked at my scoring, and he was a second and a half in front of me. And then when I asked him to move, but he went high, but he would race me off the corner. So I just don't understand. I tried to talk to him after the race in the race session, but we weren't making any progress there. I'm not going to say anything that I shouldn't, but yeah, I mean that's the difference. The lap traffic wouldn't move, and it's not like it was 20 to go. I wouldn't have said anything, and I wouldn't be this hot right now. But when you're second place running the first place guy down, usually it's the courteous to you move out of the way for the guy running someone down.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case. And yeah, it's definitely frustrating, especially in your shoes, right? Like you said, running down the race leader and, could maybe have one shot there at the end. And that's all it takes here at Gateway, right? It's easy to make a mistake here at this place.
Oh yeah, I made at least 25, 30, 40. I made so many mistakes today with the braking points. By far, this is not one of my most favorite tracks or even my best track. So coming home, second is a gift, really. But I mean, we almost snuck the win. This kind of felt like Richmond when I wasn't even in contention for that one, and it just fell into my lap there. But yeah, I mean, it was a good night. I can't even. I'm so hot right now. I can't even think straight. This is an uncharacteristic interview.
Yeah, that it is. We don't see you this upset or whatnot, and man, I don't blame you as well because, like you said, definitely could have had a shot there at the win. But overall, man, looking big picture, coming into tonight with the points lead, leaving with the points lead, and man, for the round of 10. 2 second place finishes. That's pretty awesome to see and set you up pretty well for the cutoff race next week at Homestead.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to go. The second place, the 2 seconds are solid finishes, and that's what we just need to make it to the next round. So we'll go into Homestead next week, and we'll just we'll aim for another good solid top five, and maybe we'll lead a lap there, at least get a bonus point that we didn't do tonight. But yeah, we'll go into next week and a nice solid finish. Hopefully we can get the win. Homestead's another track that's really not my best, but we'll figure it out. Hopefully the setup ain't super loose, because that surface over there is just as old as Chicago, which I like Chicago, but I don't know, something happened with Homestead the last couple of years where I lost something there. I used to be okay there, but now I'm just terrible. But we'll see how next week goes.
Yeah, luckily for you, my man, you will head into that race with a 16-point cushion, so could lose 16 spots for the cutoff line, and I think that's going to be a tough thing to do, as long as everything, nothing drastic happens, let's say, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, that 16-point cushion is just that's got solid finish just written all over it. So as long as we can get through that, we'll be good.
Yeah, then of course we got to look for that, final round of 5. Have you given any thought to that, with the tracks on the schedule for that?
I looked at, let me look real quick. It's that's the wrong one. Schedule. Atlanta, Nashville, Kansas 3. I don't know which Atlanta that is. I don't
Atlanta.
know. Oh, that's perfect. So 3. That's three very decent tracks for me. So we just gotta get through Homestead, and we'll carry it into the round of 5.
Yep, that you will do. And man, I tell you what, a force to be reckoned with all season. And once again, here for another round, Anthony, you're that as well. So here tonight from Gateway, able to walk away with a runner-up finish. So before we let you go, my man, and probably cool on down and, get a drink of water and settle on down, we, of course, got to hand over the mic to you, because I know there's a lot of people you got to thank.
Absolutely. We'll probably have to crack a beer after tonight. But I got to thank Talking Giants, John Boy Meter on the car, Rebuilding Warriors, the Elkson organization, you for the broadcast, 802 for the league. It's a great, I have a lot of fun over here with these guys, and just all their partners and sponsors for supporting this league. Couldn't do it without them. So we'll head out.
Alrighty, awesome stuff, Anthony. Well, once again, my man, thanks again for taking your time out of your day to chat with us and be part of the racing action. So you, my man, take care, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here in the future as well.
Thank you, Brett. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our runner-up finisher, the 84 machine of Anthony Calatoni. Now we'll head down to the man of the hour down here in Victory Lane. It is the driver of the 2 machine, Nick. Do you got a copy?
I got you, Brett.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, how we feeling after 120 laps and your first career win coming here tonight in the round of 10?
Oh, it feels amazing. I can't. I still really hasn't set in, I don't think. But yeah, I wouldn't imagine I'd be sitting here in Victory Lane when I literally never ran this track, and I had just bought it last Sunday, and I practiced all week with my team, and it all paid off.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you were the car to beat all night long. That first run, able to stretch out, I think, a 3.5 second advantage. Second run wasn't quite the same, but I think you had some damage on the race car. Tell us about that as well.
Yeah, about 15 laps to go. I came up off of 4 and smacked the wall, and I got wheel damage, so I just trying to nurse it all the way to the finish and hoping I had enough gap to hold them off.
Yeah, and luckily, Nick, you're able to do just that, and get the job done. But man, that had to be stressful, especially those 15 laps, seeing that time, continue to erase, knowing everything that's at stake for you.
Oh, absolutely. I was trying to drive it as hard as I could without pushing up into the wall again. But yeah, it was definitely stressful, that's for sure.
Yeah, I bet so. And man, I tell you what, like you said, you had some killer pace here tonight. We were right on board with you a little bit to try and figure out, I mean, without giving all the secrets away, what was clicking for you at this place? Because this place is such a driver's track, and I've heard it referred to as kind of a flatter Darlington, let's say.
Right. Yeah. I felt like I could get a real good drive off of 2, because I would diamond that corner a little bit, and then I would do a little higher entry coming into 3, and then just bring it down to almost to the rumble strips, not touching them, because that'll really mess you up.
Yeah, for sure, man. And man, I gotta say, after 77 starts down in victory lane for the first time, the monkey's off your back, my man. How does that feel as well? But to go with that, 15 top 5s, you've been in the mix many of times, but now it's finally done. The box is checked, right?
Yeah, and it couldn't have came at a better time right now with the playoffs and everything. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that it is, because with those playoffs as well, you got the bonus point leading the lap, got the 3 bonus points for the most laps led, and with that, you now go into next week's cutoff race with a 16-point kind of cushion over the cutoff line. How you feeling about Homestead and your chances to fight for a championship this season?
I feel pretty good about Homestead. Usually I'm pretty good there, so as long as I can keep it clean and do similar to what I did tonight, I think we can be up on this box again.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it took me a little bit to get used to this new paint scheme of yours. A little bit of red and blue action from the old kind of classic orange and gray or silver. But I tell you what, this paint scheme paying dividends. It seems like with this paint scheme, you've kicked up another gear, and then with this paint scheme, first win as well. Is this paint scheme staying on for a while now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome stuff, Nick. Well, while we got a chance to chat with you here for a moment, I always like to get a little insight of what people are using for sim setups and whatnot these days. So, Nick, what do you got these days for wheelbase, pedals? What are you looking at? All that good stuff here.
Yeah, I got the Moza R9 for a wheelbase. I got Fanatec V3 pedals, 49-inch ultra wide curved screen, and just I don't even know what rig this is. Well, it's just a GT Omega sim rig.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, those V3s, man, I have a set of those. Tough to go wrong with those puppies. Those things always made a big difference, especially, first time going to load cells. It just helps, feel that. And, as I went back to them, that throttle pedal is super nice, how much kind of throw it has in it. And I'm sure that could have maybe even helped you here tonight get that good run off it too, right?
Oh, for sure, because I mean they'll vibrate too if you're losing traction. So you just lift up just a little bit just to gain that traction back. The input or the feel in it, it helps me with going through taking care of tires even this year. I've gotten a lot better this year than I have been. So
yeah, that's definitely shown in the stats, and of course with the win here tonight. So Nick, before we let you go and celebrate this first career win, we're of course got to hand over the mic to you one last time down here in Victory Lane and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out here tonight from Gateway.
Yeah, for sure. I got to thank Rob, Johnny, Steve, Eli, all my teammates. Without them practicing all week with them, I don't think I would have been able to find this speed by myself. I got to thank BG Graphix, GStone Motors, the 802 iRacing League, Riptide Radio, Admit Box, and then you for broadcasting this league.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, Nick, we appreciate you being part of the race in action and taking your time to chat with me here after the race. So you, my man, once again, congrats on the first career win. I know it's a big one. It's a special one, and you go celebrate this. And once I wrap up here, we'll join the 2 camp here and party it on up here tonight. How do you like that?
Sounds good. Beer is ice cold.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, Nick, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll be down there to party with you here once we wrap things on up.
All right. Thank you, Brett.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. That was our race winner, the 2 Machine of Nick Larson, getting the job done for his first career win. Man, how awesome is that? Like I said, 77 starts in the making to get the job done. Finally to have it happen. I know Nick Larson is pumped up with that, and he deserves to be. So let's run through tonight's race results and get things wrapped on up. Nick Larson will pick up his first career win here. Anthony Calatoni now goes 2 in a row with second place finishes. Steve Ritter will sweep the weekend up here on the podium. He will finish in 3rd. Rob Lowe in the 21 will bring it home 4th. Grant Humphrey, the best non-playoff driver, will finish in 5th. Joe Hudson will finish 6th. Scott Simley in 7th. Jim Mott was actually able to get around Jeff Pogo off of 4. He will finish 8th. 9th will go to Jeff Pogo. And Nate Brooker will round out the top 10. Johnny Barker will finish 11th. 12th going to Ron Holyfield. Frank Zingen in 13th. Brandon Hinton 14th. Tyler Waltz 15th. Dylan Hinton in 16th. 17th going to Brandon Guerin. Ariba Caton will finish in 18th. 19th going to Eli Raposa and Jason Wiley in 20th. 21st, Evan Fuquay, Aiden Tatro 22nd, and Todd Parent not making the call here tonight. So that would do it here for race results. We, of course, got to thank all the racers, all the viewers, whether live or replay. We appreciate each and everyone to enjoy the product and be a part of the product here. We also got to thank the admins here in 802, as well as the sponsors, that being BG Graphix, Riptide Radio, GStone Motorsports, Admin Box, as well as Stone, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. So that'll do it here tonight. Turn 3 Racing Network also is partnered with Premier Setup Shops. You can find out more with the link in the description. That will take you over to their website. Even if you don't buy anything, a click will go a long way. But if you do want to buy something, referral code you can use there, and would be greatly appreciated. So yeah, that would do it here. Race number 2 of the round of 10 in the books. Next week is the big one. It is the cutoff race for the round of 10. Find out the 5 drivers going for it in the round of 5 at their chance for the season 6 championship. So everyone take care, stay safe, have a great week. And once again, I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.